Okay, this man right here is a pastor. He's a pastor with Christ Embassy, and he's a very honest person. I'm going to ask him to stand. Let your audience see him. Stand up. Let your audience see you. Come here. Come here. Go to the back. Go all the way. Go to the back. Now, this is an eyewitness. He's an eyewitness. I told this man when the campaign began in 2022, I said to him,
so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Reno Omokri went on the Honest Bunch podcast and made all the interviewers on the podcast look like fish out of water. Not because of his sheer brilliance, but due to the intimidation tactics he deployed, which, by the way, they all fell for. He not only intimidated them, but at some point during what was supposed to be an interview, he started deciding who it was that asked the next question. Yes, it was that bad. And before I share with you those very cringy moments, the podcast started on this very bizarre note. Watch.
Okay, this man right here is a pastor. He's a pastor with Christ Embassy, and he's a very honest person. I'm going to ask him to stand. Let your audience see him. Stand up. Let your audience see you. Come here. Come here. Go to the back. Go all the way. Go to the back. Now, this is an eyewitness. He's an eyewitness. I told this man when the campaign began in 2022, I said to him, now, I wish that, just say this so that the audience can hear you. I swear to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Say it.
Use her microphone.
Can you use my microphone?
Say it.
I
Say
swear
it. Say
to say
it.
the
I swear
truth.
to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
What did I tell you in 2022 about who was going to win the election?
You said you don't see PDP winning, that President Bola Tinubu is going to win.
Now, what did I tell you that even though I do not believe PDP is going to win, what did I tell you that I will do my best to do?
That you will do your best to see that you project PDP in the best way you can.
But what did I tell you that my heart was telling me was the best candidate? What did I tell you? Say it to them.
You said in your heart, the best candidate, you think it's Atiku Abubakar, but you think that the APC is going to win.
Okay. And so that's what happened. Everything that's happening now, I knew was going to happen.
Okay, we hear you, Prophet Reno, and thank you for going out of your way to prove absolutely nothing.
Okay, this man right
First off, majority of the people who will come across this video will not know this your so-called Christ Embassy pastor. So why should this confirmation of your tales by moonlight matter? You brought your domestic staff to a place where I'm sure he didn't want to come, just to prove this. What? This man is a joke, man. And all this just to prove to the president that you have always been on his side? Or just so that he doesn't remove your name from the list of ambassadorial candidates? Now, this is the man who parades himself as the most intelligent man alive, doing things that even people with half a brain shouldn't be doing.
Okay, this man right here.
Honestly, I don't blame him. I blame the producers as well as the interviewers of the podcast, who were, of course, in awe of him or were just simply intimidated by him. So please, what was this poor domestic staff supposed to have said? Contradict his own Lord and Master?
Okay, this man right here.
Honestly, I thought Reno was smarter, but now I know better. Perhaps the most hilarious part of this charade was when he asked the poor guy to begin to swear.
Just say this,
but to whom was he exactly swearing?
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Say it.
And to what end, really? As far as I'm concerned, this charade wasn't necessary. And only desperate liars do such. And by the way, you don't need to be a genius or an experienced political operative to accurately predict what Reno seems to be bragging about them. I mean, I easily made those calls at the time, and I'm not one of the smartest people around. So please, Reno, give us a break. And by the way, he said there that he knew Atiku Abubakar was going to lose. Yet he was caught doing this days after the man he predicted was going to win actually won.
How many votes did they say Tinubu had? They said Tinubu had 8.4 million votes. And then we now have a situation whereby we have overvoting 4.6 million. How does that make sense? How is that election credible?
It's not credible.
So that's what we are saying there is that Nigeria, we don't want to burn the country down. Some people are saying, just accept, just accept. How can you impose the will of a few on the majority? If the elections were free and fair, I mean, we're not going to be here.
No.
We're not going to be here. If the elections were free and fair, why would I leave? It's kind of cold right now. I think it's about 2 degrees.
Yes.
Why would I leave the warmth of my home and come here? They did the election in Lagos State. Lagos State, you did not win. You did not win the election in Lagos State. Then in Rivers State, they start to give us Babana nonsense figures. They say we should go to court.
But they don't obey.
They say we should go to court. Okay, the court, who is the head of the judiciary? Chief Justice Ariwola. November 25, 2022. Less than 4 months ago, November 25, 2022. This man went to River State, was dancing with Wike, dancing with Makinde. Then he told Makinde, I am glad you have joined G5. Wow. Then guess what? Newspaper carried it. The man said, denied it. He lied. He said I did not do it. He lied. We now got video of him where he was saying it. Now, 2 things are exposed here. The man is not impartial. The man is partial, right? The man is partial. That's the first thing exposed.
Yes.
Secondly, the man is dishonest.
Yes. Yes.
Now, you are expecting us to go to the court where a partial and a dishonest man will now set up a panel after he has told Makinde that we are happy we have joined G5. Is that possible? No. So that's the thing. If we cannot get free and fair elections, any government that is coming out will have credibility challenges.
So, if we are to believe Reno's story, he was doing all of that just to show Atiku Abubakar that he's loyal. Give me a break, Reno.
But some governors, a governor said that the commissioners must join him as his
no.
If
That is
not,
no. Listen to this. Listen to this. That is the governor of Akwa Ibom. So you go and attack the governor of Akwa Ibom. Do not go and attack APC. APC did not ask the governor of Akwa Ibom to say that. That is a decision of the governor of Akwa Ibom.
But he's a representative of APC. He's a member of APC now. It's just like you saying you're a Nigerian. When you travel abroad, you're a Nigerian. When I see Nigeria, I'm not going to say, oh, let me go and be looking for your president. So he is now a member of APC. So whatever decision he's making, I'm looking at him as an APC member. So why don't his what's it called? I don't know the word to use, but the people that are higher than him, why don't they, this thing you're saying now, you're speaking for Nigeria and say, no, this is wrong. People I want to ask you whether people have actually called him to say,
Can I show you how shallow what you have just said is? Now, let me ask you a question now.
But is that not an indictment on the president that he is afraid of his own people, that he will surround himself with security and the likes? And we spend so much on ensuring that there's security in the country, yet your convoy is longer than or almost as long as, and then you say that you are dealing with insecurity or you have solved the problem of insecurity, but yet you are afraid that somebody might buy you.
But that is I'm even I have to say that is a very silly thing to say. And the reason why it is silly and unintelligent to say that, and please don't, I'm very, very
brutal. It's okay.
Almost as if they begged him to come on the podcast, so that even in the face of insults, they were prepared to look the other way. Now, let me make it clear at this junction that I have a lot of respect for what these interviewers do. I mean, every single one of them, I believe, is smart and intelligent, especially that he frees and husband material. It's just that on this very occasion, they let their guards down. And that's okay. We all have our off days. But if we are being honest, they and the producers of this podcast played into the hands of Reno. Reno, of course, knew they generally hardly do thorough guest research on the podcast and knew that wasn't going to change during this episode. And he was right. Because throughout the 2-hour episode, you could tell they were not prepared for Reno. Their questions were mostly pedestrian, save for a few times when they got it right. But in sharp contrast, Reno came fully prepared. To the extent that at some point during the episode, a few of them were afraid to ask questions for fear that he might describe their questions as shallow and unintelligent. And I'm not in any way saying they shouldn't respect and tolerate their guests. I'm all for that. But there must be that point where you have to draw the line. But what you don't want to do is bringing in a guest on your own show who will arrogantly and condescendingly talk down on the interviewers of the show. And instead of respectfully letting him know they would not welcome his insults, they almost appear to be encouraging him to continue. Now, that is not respecting your guests or respecting their rights to free speech. As far as I'm concerned, that is empowering a bully. Now, I understand this is a new territory for all of them. But truth is, you can't have a 2-hour show where very little statements and claims were challenged. I mean, this is not one of those episodes where you have been informed that you are interviewing Portable or Pretty Mike, in which case they can decide to do little or no research. But to be aware that you are having a controversial figure like Reno and still come up with a performance like this is, to say the least, very disappointing. Like I said earlier, it's perfectly okay to go out of your way to treat your guests with respect. But rule number 1 in any interview setting is never allow your guests hijack the interview from your hands. While you want them to feel at home, you also want to quickly and respectfully drive the message home that you are in charge. I know sometimes these things can be very difficult, but by all means, never surrender the control of your program into the hands of your guests, especially a guest like Reno, whom I'm sure will one day use this their not too good performance against them.
I already knew, because let me tell you something. I and Senator Ben More-Bruce were responsible for Waziri Atiku Abubakar picking Peter Obi as his running mate.
In 2019,
we packaged Peter Obi. We do. I mean, in this year, I will be with Peter Obi, packaging him, saying he was the next best thing after sliced bread. I will go to London. The same thing. Peter Obi, when Peter Obi met Boris Johnson, it wasn't Peter Obi that went to Boris Johnson. I took him to Boris Johnson, myself and Senator Ben More-Bruce. He can't deny it because I'm a meticulous record keeper. If he wants to deny it, he will be disgraced because I will get a member of the British House of Lords, Lord Daniel Hannan, to confirm. Because that's the man that arranged it. He's my friend. I said, look, we want to see Boris Johnson and we are going to bring this man along. And that's how it happened. We were packaging this man. You know, why? I don't particularly like Peter Obi. The reason why I was doing that was because I was instructed by former President Jonathan that this is the man he wants. Waziri Atiku Abubakar called me and said I should headhunt a vice presidential candidate for him. Without telling Waziri Atiku Abubakar, as he dropped the phone, the next person I called was President Jonathan. And President Jonathan told me, it is Peter Obi. I said, sir, if I just tell this man Peter Obi, wouldn't it be rude? Because he said headhunt. He says, okay, you know, Reno, you know how to do things. So what I did was I packaged everybody. I don't want to mention the names of some people, but one of the persons that I put is an international civil servant now. The other one is chairman of a bank. So there were 3 of them. All of them, except the international civil servants, were sending me their CV. This Peter Obi that you see was sending, Reno, have you gotten the CV? Check now, refresh. This Peter Obi, he cannot.
Build up to 2019
The emails are there. If he denies it, I will disgrace him.
Very vocal.
I wasn't spokesperson for Alhaji. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar wanted me to be a spokesperson. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be a spokesperson for a president and then now come and be a spokesperson for a presidential candidate. But I will hire your media team. So he already had some media people in place. I hired Sowunmi. I interviewed him. I called him. I hired him. I told him, okay, how much do you want to be paid? The Sowunmi that you know. I hired him. I hired him. And I'm a meticulous record keeper. So when I speak, people do not want to contradict me, because if you contradict me, you'll be disgraced. I hired him. I interviewed him. I set his salary. And I said, okay, resume work on so and so day. That's your office.
Was responsible for picking Peter Obi. Was responsible for hiring Sowunmi. Responsible for this. Responsible for that. So what? Reno, are you the first person that will hire someone on behalf of another person? Only little-minded people do these kinds of things. Truth is, a lot of positions that people occupy today were based off recommendations. So, what exactly is the fuss about helping people who never asked you to help them in the first place? And why is it that Reno is always helping to package people who are already made, like Peter Obi? I never heard him say he packaged a nobody into somebody. Shame on you, Reno. Obviously, you have something personal against Peter Obi. And he keeps acting as though no one has ever helped him in life. Such a very small man. And where is the respect for former President Goodluck Jonathan and Vice President Atiku Abubakar if truly they asked you to do what you are now claiming? Where's the respect for them?
And then people were saying all of these lies and all of these things. What happened? I said, okay, I bought a ticket. I came to Nigeria.
You bought your own ticket?
I bought a ticket, first class ticket, British Airways.
Your own money?
Yes, I said, because the last, I don't want to go and meet someone like Natasha in business class or economy. They will now see that I sexually assaulted them. They lie against me. So I bought a first class ticket. If anybody has given me money to come to Nigeria to prove this thing, speak now or forever remain silent.
Okay. Sorry, that really got to me.
Very, very convenient thing to say, because of course he knows the people sponsoring him will not come out to say so. And why would they? Reno is doing exactly as he has been told to do. So Reno honestly wants Nigerians to believe that all these first-class tickets and presidential suites came from his own private pockets, all for the sake of proving a point. And anyone who believes that Reno is spending his own hard-earned money on these lousy trips is capable of believing anything.